Okay. Next, Attorney Teddy Kalaw is going to speak a little bit about Gawad Kalinga and other things, if you'd like, of course.
Thank you, Frank. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, I'm not going to talk about the law now, Rick, because while I did not also get the questions, I was asked to share my experiences as an academic at the National College of Public Administration and Governance on the Gawad Kalinga movement. And let me just highlight 2 points based on how I viewed the presentation. The first of this relates to a potential fourth factor that maybe we can look at in terms of further research, and that is how developing a sense of community spirit in the specific communities that are targeted for this traditional form of financing lends to creating a greater supply for housing finance and a demand for it. While Gawad Kalinga is not based on traditional financing methods, people misperceive it to be a mass shelter program when it's not. It's actually a total holistic community development program, and the housing component is just one of 8 programs. These programs can be as simple as a peer tutoring system, and it can go to it can be as complex as building the houses for the members of the community, and even in many cases developing microfinancing programs in the community itself. Gawad Kalinga believes, and I'm not speaking for them, but this is based on our studies in Nasipag. It is their belief that without this sense of community spirit, without this sense of community support, there is very little incentive for residents to stay in an area, and for those who would be perceived as good recipients of this such housing finance, there's very little incentive for them to pay back. So, in a sense, maybe further research, as you develop your research in this field, you should also look on that as a fourth factor. My second point relates to the fact that while I know that increasing access to housing finance, traditional housing finance, is one of the solutions to our housing problem, we have to underscore that it is not the only solution, and Gawad Kalinga, I think, is an example of that. Gawad Kalinga does not actually rely on the traditional housing finance model. Although they do, the bulk of their materials are sourced through grants and corporate social responsibility programs. These are not actually given to recipients. Recipients have to provide an input, and that is sweat equity. They have to contribute in building the homes, and that's where the sense of community spirit comes in. For a 50 to 100 square 2-meter house, you're looking at, to build the home, you need something like $2,000 US. That's 88,000 pesos to build one unit. While Gawad Kalinga generally sources materials from CSR programs and other sectors of society, it doesn't give them to the community and leaves it to individual recipients. What Gawad Kalinga does is, through its holistic community development program, organize these recipients to actually build the homes, and when they pay up in the form of sweat equity, their debt to Gawad Kalinga, that's when they're actually awarded the home. That is not traditional housing finance. It's not the only solution, but it's one of the solutions to the problem, particularly for recipients who would not be rated a good risk by banks in any case. So those are the 2 points maybe I'd like to highlight in the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. And the community spirit comment, it's well taken in our credit scoring work in South Africa. We'll find some pockets, some geographic pockets that control for all risk factors you want to control for. They have higher default rates than other pockets. And part of it is because the social fabric in those pockets were ripped apart during the tumultuous years in South Africa.